So आज हम लोग इंशाल्लाह ism studies को we will do little bit we will conclude the jumla ismiya side, uh, normal structure of the jumla ismiya side. Now we will look into little bit of the abnormalities of the jumla ismiya. Actually दो तीन topics रह गए हैं, फिर आपका ये ism का ये जो core fundamental है that will be completed. So I have given it a thought, a lot of it. Should I start the failed studies or should I finish the ism first? So I have reached to a conclusion that because we are in the momentum, let's finish it first. We will hit the 1 year milestone on 23rd of October. So this is, I think, today is 8th, and then we have another class, and maybe in the next two classes max, ism should be done completely. So in 1 year we will be completing that ism. Jeetala, question?
फहद जो लास्ट लेक्चर था ना 41 वो ना यूट्यूब की लिस्ट में नहीं आ रहा, वॉच लिस्ट के अंदर, या वो अपलोड नहीं हुआ हुआ अभी, जस्ट यू नो।
अच्छा, मैंने कर दिया था, मे बी आई डिड नॉट पुट इट इन द प्लेलिस्ट।
हाँ, प्लेलिस्ट में नहीं है बिल्कुल।
I'll do that. ठीक है, चले। तो inshallah today we will talk about little bit of the abnormalities of the jumla ismiya, and inshallah take things from there. So just a very quick revision. एक चीज और ज़हन में रखिए कि the notes that you have, in those notes you have information up to finding invisible is. I think you do not have the abnormalities covered in that.
Correct.
In that coursework, and maybe other aspects that we have also learned. It's always good for you to take notes. If not, what I was also thinking that once we complete the entire thing, we dedicate one session to just jointly produce notes in the class together. It will be a good revision for things that you don't have in your coursework, and I will share that PDF with you. Both things are possible. Let's see how we want to go there. Okay. So ism based sentences. Jumla ismiya, right? That's what we have been doing. So you know what is mubtada, you know what is khabar, and you know what is muta'alliq bil khabar. These three things you know. We call mubtada A, khabar is B, muta'alliq bil khabar is C. You also know the sentence structure is A, B, and C. That's a normal sentence structure, right? So that's what you know so far. Now, what happens, there's this one thing that you should keep in mind and look closely. We said, what is mubtada? Mubtada can be anything that is before is. For example, pronouns. For example, pointers, not followed by al. For example, proper isms. Proper isms.
Harf of nasab.
It can be harf of nasab. It is a break in the chain.
Right? यहाँ पे हम तला भाई वो वाला इशू जो था ब्रेक इन चेन वाला,
हाँ, चलो वो लास्ट में पूछा। अच्छा फहद, यहाँ पे ब्रेक इन चेन होती है कि एक इदाफा चल रहा है, ठीक है, इदाफा के अंदर सॉरी मैं मुदाफ इलैह के फौरन बाद हर्फ ऑफ नसब शुरू हो जाता है, कनेक्शन अगर चल रहा है तो ये ब्रेक ऑफ चेन कहलाएगी ना?
मुदाफ इलैह के बाद क्या होता है?
जिस तरह एक इदाफा है, इदाफा के फौरन बाद हर्फ ऑफ नसब आ जाता है।
Yes, break in the chain is when you cannot find any relationship between the consecutive two words. It could be जो आप कह रहे हैं, for example, एक इदाफा खत्म हुआ and then harf of nasab शुरू हो गया, right? So mudaf ilay and harf of nasab has no relationship between them. That is where the break in the chain is. But we are looking at break in the chain from the perspective of finding mubtada, right? So you will find lots of breaks in the chain, but the one that's relevant for you is where you find a break in the chain and one of the isms on the either side is a proper ism, and it's a rafa status, because that's what you call mubtada. Rafa and proper. Okay. That's a normal mubtada.
ये कंफ्यूजन थी क्योंकि
ये
वो
कंफ्यूजन
जो
थी।
पिछले हफ्ते की थी ना एक सूरत की थी जिसमें काफी ज्यादा वो लंबी चेन चली थी ए बी 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 सी
सूरह हदीद के अंदर।
हाँ, तो उसमें हमें ये हो रहा था कि इसमें तो ब्रेकिंग चेन्स बहुत ज्यादा आ रही हैं।
जी जी जी,
तो
of course.
आप समझ आइए, ठीक है।
Break in the chain, whenever you find it, look for mubtada. It should be on either of the two sides. ठीक है? Mubtada is ism which is proper and rafa. Okay, that's a standard. In the standard structure, it's an ism which is proper and rafa, and that's where I'm taking you actually. So when you look at pronouns, they're always rafa and proper. Pointers, rafa and proper. We said proper isms followed by common isms. It's rafa and proper. Okay. Break in the chain. If you find break in the chain, you should look for ism that is rafa and proper. Okay, and that is your mubtada. The only exception is harf of nasab when the ism is not, the mubtada is not rafa. Okay, so so what we need to understand, the key messages in a standard structure. The mubtada is always rafa and proper.
In a
Okay?
standard structure, yeah, rafa is
The mubtada is
always
always rafa and proper. Exception is except harf of nasab case. Right? So huwa muslimun, huwa is rafa and huwa is proper. Right? That's mubtada. Haza muslimun, haza is proper and it's rafa. Right? Ar-rajalu muslimun, the man is a Muslim. Right? Ar-rajulu is proper followed by a common ism. It's rafa and it's proper. Right? Alhamdu lillahi. Alhamdu and lillahi. Break in the chain case. Right? So it's a break
yes.
in the chain case, and on one of the sides you have alhamdu, which is rafa and proper. Okay, so in all of these cases you have mubtada that is rafa and proper.
Afad, in breaking the chain, alhamdu is a proper, right? Lillahi is actually harf of jar.
Yes, and now you should start calling it muta'alliq bil khabar.
Muta'alliq bil khabar.
Okay, correct. So it's alhamdu is mubtada and lillahi is muta'alliq bil khabar. Okay, and of course muta'alliq bil khabar is a harf of jar fragment. Clear so far? Silence means yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. The only case is innahu muslimun. Indeed, he is a Muslim. In this case, you don't have mubtada which is proper, which is rafa. It's a nasab mubtada. This is the only exception in this list. Only exception in this list. And you have always A and then followed B and C, A and B and C, A and B and C, A and C, for example, and then A and B here in this case. So this entire structure is followed as A, B, and C structure. This is a normal structure of an ism-based sentence. Okay?
Innahu was harf of nasab. Okay?
Correct.
Or Muslimun was in rafa state. Okay?
Yes.
So, acha, haan, samajh gaya. Okay.
Right? Innahu is mubtada and muslimun is khabar.
Khabar.
Is that much clear? Everyone is on the same page on this? Good. I take it as a yes.
Yes.
अच्छा अच्छा हुआ मुस्लिम ये ए बी से हुआ ना अगर स्टार्ट ए बी सेंटेंस ए बी स्ट्रक्चर या
First one is AB, second one is AB, third one is AB, fourth one is AC, and the fifth one is AB again.
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह ये सी इसलिए हो गया कि इस खबर मतलब
This is
सी आ गया
muta'alliq bil khabar.
मुतल्लिक बिल खबर ठीक
Right.
हो गया क्लियर
Right, but you observe in a normal structure you always have A followed by B followed by C. Right? So that's what the normal structure is. Now there is one tiny exception to this normal structure. And this
सॉरी फॉर मैं ब्रेक कर रहा हूँ वकास भाई मेरे ख्याल से आपको लिल्लाही में ना ये लाम और अल्लाह ये दो वर्ड्स हैं जो कि कंबाइन हुए हैं यहाँ पे यहाँ पे अमूमन हाँ
if there is a confusion on this is a harf of jar lam combined with the word Allah, right?
तो वो शद्दा बन
when you do that you actually combine them like this. Okay, that's how it becomes lillahi.
मुझे भी ये कंफ्यूजन थी तो मुझे आपके सवाल से अंदाजा हुआ कि शायद आपको यही कंफ्यूजन है कि लिल्लाही क्यों था.
Clear वकास भाई?
Yes, clear now.
Zabardast. Right? Now, this is a standard structure. Now you are senior students of Islam studies, and I'm going to start giving you some abnormalities, some exceptions, which I think now you can address and digest as well. So let me take you to some English examples first. I'm saying the Muslim. I'm saying a Muslim from Makkah, right? That's what I'm saying. A Muslim from Makkah. What type of fragment is from Makkah?
Harf of jar.
Harf of jar.
It's jar majroor, right? It's jar majroor. Is this fragment giving you some description about a Muslim?
It's a muta'alliq bil khabar of for.
Yes, don't worry about that. Just answer my question. So this is, we all agree this is jar majroor, right? And the word before it, a Muslim, is the fragment from Makkah giving you description? Is it describing the word a Muslim?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? What is the fragment where you have learned that an ism is described by another ism? Have you learned any fragment?
Mawsuf sifa.
Mawsuf sifa, right? So the ism that describes the mawsuf is called the sifa, right? So can I say from Makkah is actually a sifa of a Muslim?
Yes, as long as matches all the
it's
properties.
Giving the description of the word a Muslim, right? But in your head, and we'll go slow, don't worry. In your head, it's jar majroor, right? It's jar majroor. And we learned that isms are the sifa. But now you are the senior students. I'm going to give you more things that twist your brain a little bit here and there. Right? Now we are looking at a jar majroor, which is also describing a Muslim. Right? So now we have a question, is if it is describing a Muslim, can we label it as a sifa as well? That's the problem we are trying to solve. And many grammarians in Arabic ecosystem actually do label this as a sifa of the Muslim. And that sifa is described by a jar majroor. Here is another example. For example, a student from Karachi, right? Now this student, what from Karachi is telling you more about the student. It's describing the word student. A man in a masjid. In a masjid is describing you a little bit more about a man. And all of these are jar majroors. From Makkah, from Karachi, in a masjid. You've learned that as fi masjidi or min Karachi and so on and so forth. You've learned that as jar majroor so far, right? Just notice one thing. Every time I write this ism beforehand, is it a common ism or a proper ism?
Common.
It's a common ism. This exception only applies when the ism is common, never when it's proper. Okay, it only applies when the ism is common. For example, a messenger from Allah. This from Allah is a description of a messenger. So when you look at this in Arabic, you would be writing Rasul min Allah. You will saying Rasulun min Allahi, isn't it? That's how you write it. Rasul, a messenger from Allah. Now, when you do this, you have found a ism in Rafa. You have also found a break in the chain. Right? There is no relationship between Rasulun and min. So, as a naive student of Arabic, you would put an invisible is here. Right? But that's confusing case because many grammarians treat minallahi as a sifa of the Rasul. So how do we address this problem? So what they do is they say instead of you saying Rasulun minallahi, what you say is minallahi Rasulun. Minallahi Rasulun. So when you, and now listen carefully, when you have a common Mubtada, not a proper, when you have a common Mubtada, it's very normal for a muta'alliq bil khabar to come before it. It's not an abnormal structure. In case of the common Mubtada, the MBK coming before it is normal structure. Digest this. And why are we doing this? We need to understand this. Why are we doing this? Because in grammatical terms, when you have Rasulun minallahi, then minallahi is still describing the word Rasul. And in many cases, the grammarians and also in the Quran, many times this type of statement is used as a sifa of the word Rasul. Clear so far? Yes, Tala.
फहद इस मेन एक्सेप्शन को स्टडी करने का मतलब ये है कि याद है कि जब हम सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर पढ़ रहे थे तो हम हमेशा कहते थे ए बी बी सी या ए बी ए सी इस तरह करके, तो जो मुब्तदा है ए वो बी और सी के बाद भी आ सकता है या या इसका ये मतलब है कि हम सिफा की डेफिनेशन भी चेंज कर रहे हैं कि सिफा में जो प्रॉपर्टीज 4 प्रॉपर्टीज जो मैच करते थे, अब हम ये देखेंगे कि अगर कोई इसम कॉमन है और उसके साथ कोई इस तरह की ब्रेक इन चेन आ रही है और वो इसम अगर कॉमन स्टेट में है तो वो उसकी सिफा भी हो सकता है. तो मेन मकसद ये दोनों है या
दोनों है. Let me elaborate a little bit. So as I said, because it's a normal structure, because when the Mubtada is common, not proper, this is still considered a normal structure. You would still call it an AC structure, right? Because it's a normal case of constructing an ism-based sentence when the Mubtada is common. It is still not CA structure. Right? So although physically you are looking at it as a C coming before, but what AC doesn't tell you is if this A was common or proper. AC just tells you that in this sentence you have a mubtada and you have a muta'alliq bil khabar. Right? So we need to understand first of all that when the mubtada is common, the normal structure is for muta'alliq bil khabar to come before it. Okay, that's the point number 2.
और इसमें फाद भाई रसूलन ही ए होगा और मिनल्लाहि सी होगा, लेकिन लिखेंगे हम उसको ए सी सेंटेंस.
जी, because अगर आप इसको CA लिखेंगे So it means that you are actually saying it's an abnormal structure. This is still not an abnormal structure. Okay. Abnormal structure happens when Mubtada stays proper and then fluctuations happen. That's the next one we will do, inshallah. Okay. So in this case, you will not have abnormality. This is just a normal structure of a sentence. Now, the second point that Talha you mentioned. Yes, in many cases, when we are trying to understand the Quran and decoding from grammatical perspective, you will find cases where minallahi is considered a sifa. Okay, so yes, you are in one way changing the definition of sifa, maybe not changing, enhancing the definition of sifa. Previously, you knew that only ism can be defining another ism, but now you know that a jar majroor even can describe an ism, right? When we go further, you will know little bit more things about how sifas. There are complex sifas as well. Okay, so slowly, we'll understand that. Answer one question. Let's look at this Rasulu minallahi. So when you look at Rasulu, if there was supposed to be a normal sifa, what were you expecting? What type of ism were you expecting? What ism was expected? What type of ism? What status of ism was expected?
एक दफा question repeat करना है
If you have Rasulu and you didn't have minallahi, maybe another sifa of Rasulu, defined by a single ism, just like in a normal case, what status that ism would be?
Rafa.
Rafa, because it matches in 4 properties, right? Yeah, that clear?
Yes.
Because you were expecting an ism in Rafa, and also you were expecting an ism, but you did not find one, right? And we also know that jar majroor does not really have a status. We don't say it's a rafa jar majroor or nasab jar majroor. That doesn't go well, right? It's not how we learned it. So you will not say that this is a sifa. Instead, you will say this is in place of a sifa. Okay? This jar majroor.
क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि मौसूफ सिफा लॉन्ग डिस्टेंस पे तो अफोर्ड करती है ना, तो बिल्कुल उसके फौरन बाद नहीं आ सकता, तो शायद आगे रसूल की प्रॉपर्टी शायद सिफा कोई आके कोई वर्ड ऐसा आता जो उसकी सिफा डिफाइन करता.
In this case, when jar majroor is usually defining it, it's usually no long distance relationship. Okay. You will have immediately after. Otherwise, sentence really doesn't make sense. Okay. Ism ke case mein, that can have that long distance relationship.
सिर्फ और सिर्फ जार मजरूर के साथ ही होगा या और भी फ्रेगमेंट्स हैं जिनके साथ ये
At this point जार मजरूर, अभी जार मजरूर के साथ होगा.
यानी आगे जाके आप ये चेंज करेंगे.
सोएब यार, हम देख ऐसी लैंग्वेज पढ़ रहे हैं जिसमें कुरान नाजिल हुआ है, ठीक है? So inshallah, as when you guys are ready, we'll start to dive into those details, inshallah. Okay? At this point, jar majroor. Okay. So in place of sifa, basically, or that sifa was supposed to be rafa, right? So minallahi has actually replaced an ism in rafa, and that is replaced by jar majroor. So how do I say in place of rafa? Okay, that's in Arabic called fi mahalli rafa. Fi mahalli rafa. That's the statement used in grammar terms. When you inshallah start to look into the grammar text that decodes Quran, there's lots of places where I will inshallah introduce you slowly, where you will go and you'll start reading that Arabic analysis of Quran, and those grammarians will be using these terms. This is sifa fi mahalli rafa, right? If this particular one was nasab, rasulan min Allahi, you would call it fi mahalli nasab. If it was rasulin, you will call it fi mahalli jar. Fi mahalli means in place of. So this minallahi is in place of rafa, or in place of nasab, or in place of jar, where you were expecting that ism, right? So in our current example, because we kept rusulu,
ये बात नहीं समझ आई, इस मतलब जो in place of rafa, in place of nasab, in place of jar है.
अभी बताता हूँ. Okay. So there are three cases. Let's say Rasulun is in one case nasab, in other case jar, and the first case is rafa, right? So in this particular case, you were expecting sifa in rafa. In this particular case, you were expecting sifa in nasab. In this particular case, sifa in jar. Clear? यहाँ तक तो सही है? Because you were expecting sifa in rafa and you found a jar majroor as the sifa, you can't say this is rafa. You will say fi mahalli rafa. This is fi mahalli rafa. Rafa. Keyboard. Fi mahalli rafa. This is an important concept to understand. Okay. And we are talking about the highlighted one, the yellow one. Okay, yellow bit. This yellow part is fi mahalli rafa. There was a rafa expected here, and instead we found this jar majroor. That's what it means. If it was a normal case like Rasulun Siddiqun, for example, a true messenger, then that Siddiqun would normally be sifa in rafa. You won't call it fi mahalli because that's what you expected and that's what you found. When you find something that you were not expecting, then the fi mahalli thing comes in. What would I call this one? Second one.
Fi mahalli nasab.
Fi mahalli nasab. जी सोएब क्वेश्चन.
अब जब आपने जिस तरह भी पहले बताया था कि कुरान में जब हम कुरान में लिखा होगा इसको, तो वो रसूलुम मिनल्लाहि नहीं लिखा होगा, मिनल्लाहि रसूलुन लिखा होगा.
दो डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स हैं ये दो डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स हैं. This is where I'm trying to explain when you have a common ism and you have immediately after jar majroor, many times that jar majroor is considered a sifa of that common ism. Not always, but many times. If you have that case, you will call this jar majroor fi mahalli something. Fi mahalli rafa, fi mahalli nasab, fi mahalli jar, because you were expecting a different ism. The other case is sentence structure. Because of this problem, because in the Quran, the jar majroor with common ism is considered a sifa in many cases, they change the normal structure of the sentence. So when you find Rasulu minallahi, this is kind of a mawsuf sifa relationship. But when you find minallahi Rasulu, this is a sentence.
अच्छा सही है.
You understand?
जी, यानी वो जब नसब और जार होगा उस केस में वो फिर शिफ्ट नहीं होगा.
जी. The important point क्या है यहाँ पे? ये जो ism है, this is common. It applies when the ism is common. Okay, not in the case of proper mubtada. So I'm just telling you in this example, when it is the case of jar majroor used as a sifa, you would just call it fi mahalli something. Okay? Fi mahalli jar.
अच्छा फहद, अभी जो हमें जो बेसिकली अपने जहन में जो एग्जांपल रखनी है वो फी महल्ले रफा रखनी है, क्योंकि वो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर से रिलेटेड है.
जी बिल्कुल. अभी आप इस एग्जांपल को कंसीडर करें. हाँ, क्योंकि हमने जो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर बनाया ये.
एग्जैक्टली. क्योंकि वो मुझे लगा कि बात कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं कि नसब और जर भी जो है वो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर का पार्ट है, वो नहीं है. बेसिकली वो सिर्फ एक तरह की समझने की बात है कि अगर नसब जो है वो रिप्लेस हो जाए इन केस ऑफ सिफा, जब हम मौसूफ बना रहे होते हैं,
यानी
तो
इस क्वेश्चन का जवाब दे, excluding harf of nasab, what is the status of mubtada always? Rafa, right? That's the status of mubtada. So anything nasab, anything jar here doesn't apply to the sentence structure.
ठीक है, और इसको ये भी कह सकते हैं कि अगर ये पहले आ रहे हैं रफा नसब जर तो वो मौसूफ सिफा फ्रेगमेंट है, अगर रफा स्टेट में वो बाद में आ रहा है इसम हर्फ ऑफ जर के तो वो सेंटेंस बन जाएगा हमारा
जी, this is a sentence and this one is kind of मौसूफ सिफा. आप इसको मौसूफ सिफा फ्रैगमेंट लेबल नहीं करेंगे, आप इसे कहेंगे इसम मरफू मिनल्लाहि फी महल्ली रफा सिफा.
ठीक है,
अच्छा,
that's how you will label it. ठीक है.
अच्छा, इसकी तो समझ आ गई डॉक्टर साहब कि जो फी महल्ली है, जैसे रसूलन था या आगे रसूलन होता है, लिन होता है, देन फी महल्ली आ जाएगा रफा नसब या जार. तो हमने उसको शुरू में ए में क्यों लेके आ गए? ऐसे बता रहा है रसूलुम मिनल्लाहि, रसूलन मिनल्लाहि और रसूलिन मिनल्लाहि. इफ वी लीव तो हमने उसको मिनल्लाहि पहले क्यों लेके आ गए?
जी, उसी का आंसर मैं ही दे रहा हूँ विकास भाई. इफ यू इन द ग्रामर इन कुरान when you write it like this, Rasulun minallahi, I mean, if you say this is mubtada and this is mutaalliq bil khabar the way we normally know, the problem with that is that minallahi is also describing the word Rasul, right? It's also a sifa of the word Rasul, right? Because it's a sifa, you can't say that this is a sentence. It's kind of a mausuf sifa fragment, right? To solve that problem, how do we differentiate when it is a sifa and when it is actually a mutaalliq bil khabar? What grammarians did back in the days is they moved the common ism in front of it here at the end, and they said whenever you find the same words in this structure, this is a representation of a sentence. Okay, then you will say this is a mubtada, Rasulun is a mubtada, and minallahi is mutaalliq bil khabar. That's why we are doing this.
अगर रसूलुम मिनल्लाहि है तो उसको याद रखेंगे वो एक फ्रेगमेंट है, because that is defining मौसूफ सिफा रिलेशनशिप. और अगर मिनल्लाहि रसूलुन है तो वो सेंटेंस बन जाएगा, और इस फ्रेगमेंट को सेंटेंस से अलग करने के लिए ग्रामेरियंस ने ये टेक्निक इजाद की है. मुझे ये समझ आया फाद, अगर मैं गलत कह रहा हूँ.
जी, that's correct. That's correct. So and just don't forget this part कि this only applies to common isms. Okay.
हाँ जी.
Not to proper ones.
कंडीशन ये है कि इसम कॉमन होना चाहिए.
जी बिल्कुल. कॉमन होना चाहिए. You need to understand difference between basically these two things. ठीक है. रसूलुन मिनल्लाहि
ar-रसूल.
ठीक है, and ar-रसूल मिनल्लाहि.
तब ब्रेक इन चेन हो जाएगा, है ना?
That's what इन तीनों के अंदर डिफरेंस. जो फर्स्ट केस है, इसको मैं ऊपर कर देता हूं. This case, this is the case where is you are having the sifa,
मौसूफ सिफा,
मौसूफ सिफा fragment.
This is the case where you are having common mubtada. Usually you have mubtada which is proper, right?
And that's also it is a sentence as well, Fad.
And it because of course mubtada to sentence mein hota hai. This is a sentence, right? This is sentence with a common mubtada, right? And this is proper mubtada.
It's a sentence with a proper mubtada.
Sentence with a proper mubtada, right? They both are sentences. So how do you differentiate between how and last two, common mubtada and proper mubtada? They both are AC sentences. They both are AC sentences. AC means it tells you it has a mubtada and it has a mutaalliq bil khabar in it.
फादर ये जो लास्ट वाला है ये इसलिए सेंटेंस है क्योंकि इसमें वो आता है इनविजिबल आएगा ब्रेक इन चेन की वजह से. जी,
ये अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वाला केस है.
जी, अल रसूल फिर ब्रेक इन चेन है और मिनल्लाहि.
जी, ठीक है. For you the break in the chain template is alhamdulillah. Keep that in mind. That's the break in the chain template for you. जी वकास भाई.
तो मिनल्लाहि रसूलुन ये भी AC है, and the reason is AC because मिनल्लाहि over here is still मुब्तदा, लेकिन मुब्तदा तो कॉमन है ना इधर उस
Sir,
या कि सी
Rasulun is Mubtada. Let me elaborate little bit on this. ये जो मैंने बात की, in case of common Mubtada, the muta'alliq will khabar coming before is a normal structure. इसको देखें थोड़ा सा. मैं कहता हूँ मिन आसान सा नाम सोच रहा हूँ मैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मिन लंदन, ठीक है, फ्रॉम लंदन तालिबुन, मुस्लिम कह देते हैं. Now, is this a case of a common ism being described, or is this a case where you have a sentence?
This is an exception case.
Common ism being described.
Yes.
Correct. This is common mubtada.
Mubtada.
So whenever the mubtada is common, it cannot come before. It will always be pushed out. Second. Okay? So when the mubtada is common, it is pushed for later. And muta'alliq bil khabar comes before. That is still a common structure of a sentence. But if I say, min London, min London al-Muslimu. Now what's happening here? So you see the muta'alliq bil khabar, and you see a proper ism in rafa, and in the middle you find break in the chain. Correct? You find this break in the chain. But in a normal structure, this ism al-Muslimu you were expecting to be common, because you were told whenever the mubtada is common, it is actually later. But in case of proper, you always have the mubtada first, and then comes the muta'alliq bil khabar, then comes the khabar, right? Everyone with me on this so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
So is this an abnormal case or a normal case?
Abnormal.
It's an abnormal case.
This is abnormal case.
Yes.
It's an abnormal case. But the one above, is it an abnormal case or a normal case?
Normal.
It's a normal case. So only al is making that difference. And what abnormality it brings, we'll do inshallah soon. What you need to understand is when the mubtada is common, it is always later. It is put with a delay. The muta'alliq bil khabar will be put first. जी.
तो मिन
विकास भाई आप पूछे.
जी. So मिन लंदन मुस्लिम, इसका जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो क्या सी है होगा? Still AC.
First one?
जी ये वाला. Still AC.
जी, what I would advise you that you remember it as AC, because AC. There is no abnormality in that. Okay? When you write it as if you write it as CA, you are actually saying that there is abnormality in the structure. The normal structure is A, B, and C.
मैं समझ गया. So इसमें basically the point is कि जब वो common आ गया तो उसको हमने push कर दिया, लेकिन जो structure है वो उसका वो normal ही रहेगा. उसने status को abnormal नहीं किया. ठीक है. Clear. Thank you, Dr. Saf.
This is just a rule in Arabic. When the mubtada turns common, you push it out. अब
अच्छा फाद, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि अगर मैं कहूँ कि I am from London, ठीक है, तो इस अगर मैं लिखूं मिन लंदन अना, ठीक है, तो वो अरबिक बड़ी अजीब सी लगती है. ठीक है, अना मिन लंदन. हाँ,
लिख लेते हैं
तो हालांकि ये एक
While I
प्रॉपर
know
नाउन
you're not from London, you're lying, but still.
You wish you from London है
नहीं
हजारों हाशियां ऐसी कि हर हाश पे
That's
तुम
what you're
निकले।
saying, Tala, right?
हाँ जी
In London, Anna. That's what you're saying, right? Now, you will come to the answer yourself, inshallah. So, is Anna common or proper?
अच्छा सही यार ये तो प्रॉपर हो गया हाँ
So
ठीक
you
है
can't delay it,
ओके
right?
गुड ओके सही
You can't delay the proper. You can only delay the common. You will always say Anna min London. Okay?
और आप तो वैसे बहुत ही
सर हम
स्पेशल है।
एडवांस
आप कॉमन कैसे हो सकते हैं भाई, क्या कह रहे हैं तलाब?
सर हम तो हर
आप
चीज
तो
बंद करवा देते
आप तो प्रॉपर की भी जो आला फार्म है ना, मतलब
तो
उसमें
सुपर प्रॉपर है।
सर वो एक्सेप्शन में आते हैं ना यही तो
Super
आपको
proper
समझा
है।
रहे हैं
एक तो आप सुपर प्रॉपर है और आप एक एबनॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर भी हैं।
आप फिर उसको कहते हैं एक्सेप्ट करते हैं नॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर है
अच्छा
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
इसमें अब मैं आपको कुछ
एक
टर्मिनोलॉजी दूंगा थोड़ी सी।
पूछना था
जी
ट्रांसलेशन वाइज, मतलब क्वेश्चन कर सकता हूँ
बताइए।
इसमें? अब जिस तरह से अल रसूल मिनल्लाह, क्योंकि जो ये था कॉमन इसम में था, हम इज हटा देते हैं उसमें से, बीच में से ब्रेकिंग चेन पे। लेकिन अगर ये आता है अल रसूल मिनल्लाह या मिनल्लाहि अल रसूल, इसकी ट्रांसलेशन किस तरह से करेंगे?
आपने दो बातें की हैं। Are you saying ar-rasulu? Are you saying
अल
ar-rasulu?
रसूल मिनल्लाहि।
Minallahi.
अब यहाँ
The
पे
prophet
invisible
is
इसम है ना,
the prophet is from
अल्लाह।
Allah.
अच्छा ar-rasulu minallahi. Is it a normal structure or abnormal structure, guys?
नॉर्मल स्ट्रक्चर।
This is normal structure.
So
This is
what is the mubtada, Soheb?
अल रसूल।
ar-rasulu. तो invisible is आएगा मुब्तदा के बाद, correct?
जी जी।
So the messenger is and
फ्रॉम अल्लाह।
minallahi,
जी
from Allah. The messenger is from Allah. Okay.
जी।
Now let's do Rasulun minallah.
नहीं, ये ठीक था,
ये
ये
clear है?
ये क्लियर है। अगर इसको चेंज करते हैं मिनल्लाहि अल रसूल,
जी
उसकी भी
इसको कर
ट्रांसलेशन
देते हैं
करेंगे
minallahi rasulun
अल रसूल।
ar-rasulu.
but
वो तो
ये
क्लियर है, वो दूसरा तो क्लियर है, उसका तो यही बनेगा अ मैसेंजर फ्रॉम अल्लाह।
ये एबनॉर्मेलिटी है, ये वाला केस जो ऊपर है,
जी
जो कि मैंने अभी आपको नहीं पढ़ाया। ठीक है,
जी
दिस इज वेयर यू हैव अ प्रॉपर मुब्तदा पुश्ड आउट,
जी।
राइट? दिस केस यू हैव नॉट लर्नड येट। ये हमारा नेक्स्ट
ठीक है,
टारगेट है। ठीक है,
ठीक है। और इसी तरह से जब हम ट्रांसलेशन वाइज करेंगे, एक नॉर्मल इसको, एक फ्रेगमेंट केस को और नॉर्मल केस को, तो उसमें फर्क किस तरह से होगा? सिंपल जैसा रसूल मिनल्लाहि, वो बनेगा अ प्रॉफिट फ्रॉम अल्लाह, रसूल मिनल्लाहि, और एक हो मिनल्लाहि रसूलुन। इन दोनों में मतलब ट्रांसलेशन में किस तरह से फर्क करेंगे?
कॉमन एंड प्रॉपर।
नहीं, अगर हम वो सेंटेंस बनाते हैं इसको, तो
जी मैं समझ रहा हूँ,
जी
मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप राइट, आप कह रहे हैं कि हाउ विद दिस डिफरेंस,
जी
these types of sentences जिसमें आपका मुब्तदा कॉमन होता है and you have मुताल्लिक बिल खबर coming before, these are typically there is sentences. There is a messenger from Allah.
सही है, यानी
Okay.
इनविजिबल इसमें भी होगा
जी, because it's a sentence and in a sentence you do need an is, right? There is no sentence without an is, right? So you can translate it in two ways. You can say from Allah is a messenger. That's more literal,
ठीक है,
right? Is a messenger. But in a more human English, you can say there is a messenger from Allah, right?
जी
बाद एक क्वेश्चन मैं शायद ये पहले भी पूछूं, जो हम जो पढ़ रहे हैं अरबिक के अंदर जो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर है ठीक है, उसमें ए जो है वो हमेशा हम पहले ही लिखेंगे, अगर एबनॉर्मल केस भी है उसके बावजूद जो है वो ए जो है वो हमेशा पहले आएगा मुब्तदा के
नहीं,
नहीं
एबनॉर्मल केस में नहीं, मैंने आपको एबनॉर्मल केस ही नहीं दिखाया कोई। मैं
अच्छा
आपसे कह रहा हूँ मिन लंदन मुस्लिमुन इज अ नॉर्मल केस,
हाँ
ठीक है।
नॉर्मल केस
और
ठीक है
रसूलु मिनल्लाहि इज अ नॉर्मल केस।
सही है
ये abnormal cases are these ones which
ओके
we have not done yet. So when you
सही
will find abnormal case, you will write it as CA or CBA, whatever that is. ठीक है?
अच्छा,
But this is a normal case. This is not an abnormal case. ठीक है?
ठीक
अच्छा, लास्ट फ्यू मिनट्स में मैं आपको एक टर्मिनोलॉजी देना चाह रहा हूँ. You should feel like that you're learning Arabic now. You already say jar majroor marfu mansoob majroor mutaalliq bil khabar, and all of after speaking all of this terminology, you can stand and say aqimus salah and people will accept you as their imam already. Yeah, so you have that terminology now. What you need to do is learn what is it called when the mubtada is pushed out. So when the mubtada is pushed out for later, it's called the mubtada is muakhar. This is the case of Mubtada Muakhar.
मौखर हम लोग भी कहते हैं ना डिले को कि हमने मौखर कर दिया
जी
वही मायने है इसके भी
जी Muakhar is delay. I'm missing out on spelling. I think that's the spelling. I'm forgetting the spelling. Second. Just checking the spelling. This is the difference. Mubtada Muakhar. Muakhar is a case when Mubtada is pushed out. You call it Mubtada Muakhar. It has gone in the end. आखिर में चला गया वो. ठीक है? When it's a normal case like this one, this is a normal case. ठीक है ना? You call Mubtada is Muqaddam. In a normal sentence with a proper Mubtada is always Muqaddam. It is always before, right? And everything else is after. In a common Mubtada case, Mubtada is always Muakhar and everything is coming before. These two are two normal structures of ism sentences. Mostly common structure in the Quran is, of course, this one that we have learned. Many isms, many sentences are with muqaddam normal structures, but there are many coming with common mubtada as well. So when they come with common mubtada, you will see mubtada being muakhar, delayed. These two terminologies are important for you. So mubtada muakhar, mubtada muqaddam. You can apply these terminologies to khabar and mutaalliq bil khabar as well, but we'll inshallah do that later. Two terminologies are sorry.
इसी में यानी इवन पहला जिस तरह से है हमारा वन कॉमन स्ट्रक्चर ही रहा है कॉमन सेंटेंस है ए सी लेकिन स्टिल इसमें हम कहेंगे कि मुब्तदा इज मुअख्खर
जी जी बिकॉज इस कॉमन स्ट्रक्चर में नॉर्मल इज मुअख्खर मुब्तदा
ठीक है
राइट सो ये वाला जो स्ट्रक्चर है दीज आर देयर इज सेंटेंसेस इसको याद रखिएगा दीज आर देयर इज सेंटेंसेस देयर इज sentences when you come to the translation this is how you will usually translate them there is a Muslim from London in this case or you can say from London is a Muslim that's also fine but it's more Shakespearean English so when you want to really speak normal English you will say there is a Muslim from London okay
शेक्सपियर वाली क्या थी
No, if you may okay, if you write it like this, for example, from London is a Muslim. You normally don't speak like this, right? So it's more of a Shakespearean style, old or abnormal English. So better is to say there is a Muslim from London. Right? That's more understandable English.
अच्छा फात कहीं कुरान की आप ट्रांसलेशन पढ़े तो उसमें भी कई लोगों ने जो है वो वर्ड बाय वर्ड ट्रांसलेशन लिखी होती है, वो सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर उस तरह नहीं बन रहा होता या उनकी ट्रांसलेशन उस तरह नहीं बन रही होती.
जी, that's true, very true, and that's why we need to learn this.
क्योंकि आजकल मैं जो कुरान पढ़ रहा हूँ उसकी ट्रांसलेशन वो बिल्कुल वर्ड बाय वर्ड है, तो वो इस तरह की फॉर्म में फ्रॉम अल्लाह इज अ मैसेंजर. और
जी, अभी जब मैं आपको एबनॉर्मलिटी पढ़ाऊंगा इंशाल्लाह, हमने जो केस देखा था ये वाला जो आई थिंक सुहेब ने भी पूछा था, ये वाला केस है. फॉर एग्जांपल, when a proper mubtada is delayed, when a proper mubtada becomes muakhar, proper mubtada is normally supposed to be muqaddam, normal first, but when it becomes muakhar, then you introduce exclusivity, onlyness. Onlyness in the sentence, right? So this particular one, min London al Muslimu would mean the Muslim is only from London. Is only from London. So this only comes into the picture because the proper mubtada is muakhar. There is an abnormal structure. Now this is an abnormal structure which you will call A and sorry, you will call C and A, because इसमें mubtada proper है and you were expecting it to come before. Okay? So just a hint of what we'll do inshallah in the next class. So we'll do that in detail. Okay? I would very strongly advise you, in addition to this class, just play this video again. I mean, listen to the lecture again, maybe at 2x speed, whatever. 1 hour you can cover in 30 minutes while running or talking or walking or doing stuff. Put headphones in, start it, because when you listen to this again, these things will firm up in your mind. Okay, don't leave it for 1 hour class only in a week. Just find 30 minutes to just fast play these videos and listen to them again. It really helps. I normally listen some of my lectures 3 to 4 times before I move to the next class, because it really helps me really understand the concept. Okay. Clear? Okay for now?
Yes.
चले, जबरदस्त. ठीक है, तो इंशाल्लाह after this we have a topic of abnormal structure in which a proper mubtada switch places. Those abnormalities we have to do, and inshallah after that little bit of one topic on the complex structure, and then we are done with ism for now. Okay. Inshallah, I'm hoping in the next 2 to 3 classes ism should be concluded and we can jump into the fail studies, which is very exciting space in itself. Okay. Any questions, please shoot on WhatsApp and inshallah we'll take it from there. Okay.
Good.
Chale.
Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
फहद एक मिनट रुकना था प्लीज. रिकॉर्डिंग अगर स्टॉप करनी है तो कर लो. Do you or Umar wants to